Hey YouTube family, it's Humberto from GrayLaw TV coming at you with GN. Good news, I got some good news. If you know what a U visa is or you are on a U visa, guess what? Expansion. They've expanded substantial protections for U visa holders. I also got some real cases for you to show you what's happening with immigration. Good policy changes, things are still happening, cases are being adjudicated, interviews are being waived. I'm going to talk about real cases in my office that I'm working on to let you know real time what's happening. I got some good stuff for you guys. So let's talk a little bit about the U visa, right? So if you are a victim of a crime, you're able to get a U visa. It's a non-immigrant visa. It's good for up to 3 years, after which time you can adjust your status. That means you can change the U visa to a green card. So how is this done, right? The way that it's done is you have to get what's called a supplemental B. It's an application form. That application form you need to take to law enforcement, whoever is investigating the case, so that you are available to provide valuable information in connection with the actual crime that was involved. So the law enforcement, either police officer, investigator, etc., they complete that supplemental B form. Then there's a form I-918. That is the form that you complete, you put together in the package, you file it. The problem with the U visa is it takes a long time to adjudicate, right? They only issue 10,000 of these visas a year, and so the backlog currently, a 3-year wait. It takes 3 years. Once immigration has looked at the case, they've determined that there's a prima facie eligibility. That means you look at it, yes, you're a victim, you may provide this information to law enforcement. Then what they do is they'll issue a prima facie designation. That is the time where you can actually file and get the work permit. Okay, that's how it has worked. Good news, folks, they've expanded the protections. Okay, now what they're doing is not only are they issuing the EADs upon prima facie eligibility initially when you file that application, you don't have to wait 2-3 years to get the work permit. They're issuing it right away. They're also designating individuals who have a prima facie eligibility as deferred action status. What does that mean? What that means basically is you cannot be deported. You're legal and lawful in the US, which is great. It's a protection for you. It allows you to continually extend your work permit. It allows you to be safe from removal proceedings, which is great. So this will be great for family members. They also will qualify derivatively, and they can also get that protection. Another bit of good news, let's talk about some policy changes in immigration. So if you have either an employment-based or a family-based adjustment, that means you file your I-485 and it's pending with immigration. Generally, it takes 6 months to get the EAD. That's the work permit, right? Work permit allow you to get your social security number, driver's license, all those things you need. It's a golden ticket while you're waiting for that final interview for your green card. So this actual work permit would usually be issued for 1 year. New policy, folks, because they're a little bit backlogged. They are waiving final interviews, but still there's tons of cases in the pipeline. So what they're doing is they're extending the EAD card for 2 years. You get 2 years now. That's great. So remember, when you're filing for your extension of your EAD, make sure you put the barcode that came with the card. What happens is they will expedite the approval of the new card, right? It usually I'm going to show you some real cases, okay? I'm going to show you the real cases, show you how long it's taking. Make sure you put the barcode on there, and it's going to help expedite. It's not going to take 6 months normal processing time, 30 days, folks. All right. So we're going to go through some real cases, and you're going to see real time what's going on. All right. First real case, DACA extension. Client came to us. We wanted to extend the DACA, right? Generally, it takes 4 to 6 months to get this extension. Look at this, folks, 30 days, 30-day extension on DACA. Fantastic. It seems that things are moving. If you look at this receipt date and you look at the issue date, hey, fast processing. All right, you're not going to believe this one. Citizenship, N400, interview date, 30 days from filing. Fantastic. Hey, I told you last time on the citizenship, those filed after January of 2021, interviews are coming in lightning time speed, which is fantastic. All right, let's talk about I-485s, right? Adjustment of status. This is a family petition, so you would think, right, final interview is going to be waived. Yes, final interview is waived. Green card came directly in the mail. Here's the interesting thing. Generally, interviews are taking about a year to a year and a half. This one, 8 months. Not bad, right? So yeah, hey, YouTube family, thanks so much for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like and subscribe. Hey, let me know where you're watching from. I love to hear the different places, that are tuning in. Every Wednesday, 4 p.m., I am there. I answer live questions. So join in with me. Ask me some questions. I'll answer them. I answer all of them. Leave suggestions in the comments. Guess what, gang? We're approaching 4 million views and 50,000 subscribers. Help us out. Click below, like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching GrayLaw TV. We'll see you soon. Hey YouTube family and GN subs, it's Humberto from GrayLaw TV. We are going to provide you with some important information on essentials and critical information that you need to get your case approved. Look, I've been doing this for 35 years. Our approval rate is about 95%. I know how to get cases approved. The case will not be approved simply by going to the USCIS website and looking at what documentation is required to get your case approved. You need more than that. I tell you, if you listen to this video until the end, you will get good information on what you need to get your case approved. So, hey, let's get at it. So the first critical piece of information you need is evidence. You need to document your case. You need to make sure you provide evidence to support your petition. I'll give you a good example. You guys love marriage cases. We talk a lot about marriage cases. We have pretty good video on what evidence is required, right? So the evidence that is critical at the time of the interview is joint documentation. You need more than less. The reason my cases get approved and or even waived, sometimes what I do is I supplement the case before the interview with joint documentation so that perhaps the interview will be waived and the case will be approved. Even if you have an interview, it's going to be a short interview. It's not going to be what we call a Stokes interview where they separate you. More evidence, better chances you have of getting that case approved. Let's talk about the I-751. This is really critical. What evidence do you need to get your case approved? Okay, I've done this millions of times, folks. All right, 2 types of I-751 petitions to remove your conditional resident status. The first is a joint petition. What's the critical piece of evidence besides the joint documentation that I talked about? Critical is a personal statement of you and your spouse. This statement should be chronological. First, you put the date, right? On April of 2018, we met. On such and such date, we started dating. On such and such date, we got married. On this date, we did this. Things were good. Our anniversary, remember, on this date, we went to, Nobu for dinner, etc. So chronologically, put together a personal statement of your marital history. That is critical, okay? It's critical to get your case approved. Both of you sign it, and it will be approved. If the marriage has broken down and you're doing a waiver, I-751 waiver, even more critical is that statement. All of the information. Now, what I like to get my cases approved is you want 80% of how the marriage was great. Okay, we had a great marriage, things were really good. 20% of what happened, we separated. On this date, we separated. On this date, we filed a divorce. We tried. On this date, we went to marriage counseling, whatever the case may be. You have a statement that is your roadmap. You file that with your I-751 petition. 2 years later, when you go to the interview, you already have your roadmap. You review that statement and you stick to it because that is what the officer is going to ask you. That's going to help you get your case approved, I promise. We talk a lot about RFEs, requests for evidence. This is really important. How do you get those cases approved? The way that you get them approved is that you document them. What happens is the officer sometimes they don't even review the case, and they give what's called a kitchen sink RFE. What's a kitchen sink RFE? That's where you have all the pots and the pans and the forks. You have all the dirty stuff, in the kitchen sink, and it's like they've never read the actual petition. So now you have the opportunity to respond and to demonstrate exactly why your case is really strong based on the evidence. So you go point by point and you show the officer that your case is really good. One thing you want to do is you always want to give a little additional evidence. If you can get more letters of support, you provide that. If you have additional evidence from the time that you filed to the time the RFE was issued, you want to provide that additional evidence, and you go point by point. On my O1s and my EB1s, it happens all the time. We get the kitchen sink RFE, right? So what do? We provide that additional evidence. We go point by point. There is a case that I am putting in the description link. It's called the Kazarian case. Immigration actually has a memo in the field adjudication manual, and it tells the officer exactly how they should adjudicate these cases. And it goes point by point and all the criteria that you need to meet. You need to let the officer know that they need to abide by this case. And when you're outlining all of your evidence that you submitted initially, additional evidence, etc., and is going by this case, I guarantee you that's how we get our cases approved. But it's difficult. I mean, a lot of times if you're doing this case on your own, you might not know. So one piece of advice, guys, get a reputable attorney. You need an attorney on those types of cases. Also, if you get like a notice of intent to deny on a family case, good idea. Get an attorney, right? How do you respond to a notice of intent to deny? The way that you respond is usually the case is factual. The officers make mistakes all the time, either at the time of the interview, if I'm the attorney, I'm taking copious notes, and the officer says, oh, your client said this, and you go, no, the client didn't say that, or there was a misinterpretation, etc. You respond to their factual assertions. You make sure that you controvert those assertions. That's the way that you get this NOID approved. Sometimes on the NOID, there's been an investigation, right, where they've come to your home. Usually the officers are really bad. They do such a sloppy job of investigating. That does not mean your case is going to be denied. What you do is you controvert all of the evidence that they're submitting. You provide statements, you provide evidence that shows that what they're saying is absolutely incorrect, okay? So just because there's an investigation that subsequently turns into a notice of intent to deny does not mean your case is going to be denied. You fight it. Again, advice, get a good attorney. We know how to respond to these things, and we know how to get the cases approved, okay? Waivers, I-601 waivers. If you have unlawful presence in the United States where there is a 10-year bar, you need an I-601A waiver. We've talked about these cases before. What is the critical piece of evidence you need to support your petition? What you need is a psychological evaluation. That is your starting point, folks, okay? Critical to get your case approved. You have a professional psychologist that will interview your U.S. citizen spouse, parent, or child who you need to show hardship to if you're forced to return home. That is the component of the case. You get the psychological evaluation. When we get the results, often what we do is we go through them, right? And then we supplement them with information. For example, if the psychologist says that you're suffering, from depression, then we get a statement from the doctor that substantiates that claim that you're suffering from depression. If your child has a sickness, let's say sickle cell anemia, I've had cases like that, you get a letter from the doctor proving the illness, okay? Financial hardship, you need an expense and income statement to show that you need both incomes to support the expenses monthly. That's really important, really critical to to get that waiver case approved. So the psychological evaluation is a starting point. Subsequently, you supplement your case based on that evaluation. That's how you get these waivers approved. We get tons of waivers approved. All right, that's how you do it, folks. Finally, get a consultation, folks. Even if you can't afford a good attorney, pay for the consultation. Let them explain to you and tell you what visa might be available to you. It's really important. Get professional help, professional advice. You can really assess right at the beginning whether or not you're eligible for this visa, as opposed to going through 2 years, 3 years of applying, spending money, right? Filing fees to immigration, when ultimately the case is not going to be approved. Seek help of a professional, a reputable attorney, so they can assess your case, all right? Hey, YouTube family, thanks so much for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like, and subscribe.